Hi, I'm Skip Nipper. Welcome to my podcast,
where I tell you about not only Nashville's great baseball history and traditions,
shot to right, a one-hop liner,
but certainly about its past. And you will hear a little bit about its present and future, too.
Yes, he can. It makes the waist-high catch.
There are great stories about Tom Wilson Park, Herschel Greer Stadium, Sulphur Dell, and the players, coaches, and fans who love everything about baseball. And every once in a while, you will get to hear from a special guest who will share their fondness and even passion for the great game.
It's a high fly ball down the right field corner, going way back, hits a lead-off home run.
In my podcast's introduction, I say that you might hear stories about other fans. And in this episode, I want to talk about a special group of fans and give tribute to one of them by doing so. First, a little background. When I began SulphurDell.com, our dad, Virgil Nipper, encouraged me to get a booth at Nashville's Oktoberfest, centered around 8th Avenue and Monroe Street in Germantown. It's changed a lot since then. And his dad told me many who grew up or had family in the area would love to stop by and speak about their memories of the old ballpark. He even encouraged me to have Sulphur Dell t-shirts printed with the proceeds to go to paying the website fees. I thought that was a great idea, but had no idea what the response would be. And in a word, it was fantastic. The date was October the 11th, 2003, and I enjoyed it, as Dad did, to greet many who took the time to tell their stories and experiences of Nashville Vols games and other events at Sulphur Dell. Some even went home and came back with photographs for me to publish. And besides two people who I met, Linda Center and Debbie Easer Cox, who worked at Metro Archives, which was located in Green Hills next to the mall back then, and without their encouragement, my research would not have become what it is, was a tall, willowy fellow who stood around and talked to me, my dad, and others who made their way over to the booth. His name, Pete Mason. And I learned a lot from Pete that day, especially about his love for antique treasures, visiting flea markets and estate sales, and just about anywhere else he could seek out things from days gone by. You see, Pete was a picker before picking was cool. And he related a story to me that he has repeatedly told over the years about a Nashville Vols game at Sulphur Dell on April the 10th, 1961, as the Vols hosted the Chattanooga Lookouts on a cool night. The daytime high temperature had been 51, on the way to an overnight low of 36. So the game time temperature was pretty cold at 41 degrees, not unusual for springtime in Nashville, and an estimated crowd of just 400 were all that showed up to see the Vols win the game by a score of 8-6. It was only the second game of the season, which would turn out to be the last year of the Southern Association, which had been around since 1901. Well, 5 kids showed up for the game out of that 400. Pete, his brothers Scotty and Mike, and the 2 Collier brothers they knew, Mickey and Frank Collier III. And here's how Pete explained it in his own words, what he was so proud of about that night at Sulphur Dell. We were at a night game at Sulphur Dell. It was a freezing cold night game, and we had an old army blanket pulled around us to stay warm. A photographer for the Nashville Banner came by and took our picture that evening. The next night, when the banner came out, we were blown away to learn we had made the majors. We had a great write-up with our picture and names. It read, "Here are 5 of the 400 brave fans who braved the cold last night at Sulphur Dell." And he closes it by saying, "What a thrill." It's a great, thrilling story, especially for Pete and his brothers and their friends. But as often happens, I waited too late to tell this story, as Pete passed away a few weeks ago on March the 16th at the age of 79. But there's more to this story. He enjoyed writing poetry, and shared poems about his love for Nashville's Sulphur Dell, not once, but twice. And I cannot begin to tell them as Pete would have, but I can hear him, and I'd like to read them to you. The first is called Sulphur Dell Reminiscing. They tore the park down in 1969, but it still stands vividly in the old timer's mind. We can still see in our dream exactly where we sat, feeling all the excitement with the crack of the bat. It may be gone and no longer a park. The lights have been dimmed and all has gone dark. The fans have all left and gone separate ways, but we have memories to last the rest of the days. And there is this one entitled Old Sulphur Dell. Old Sulphur Dell, I knew it had this most distinctive smell of livestock and cinder cigarette smoke, hamburgers and hot dogs, fizz from the cokes. It always seemed to be a magical place. The excitement was evident on everyone's face. People came from far and near to support the Vols year after year. The trip to Nashville was quite an event, but each mile driven was worth every cent. But in 1969, it came to a sad and teary end, for Nashville had certainly lost a very dear friend. Do you hear his passion for something he truly loved? His obituary states he loved telling stories of his childhood and growing up with his siblings. His family can certainly attest to that, and so can I. And we certainly have lost a very dear friend. Rest in peace, Pete.